The more you grow, the more you understand it. But when you are more junior, actually, you think, I'm doing a good job, someone will notice. And then you start seeing the people who level up. So one thing we did, and is part also of how we coach and mentor people who want to go to the next level, is to build them a sponsor. So someone they work with, a senior. Then I always ask, what's your brand, and what people say when you are not in the room. Those two dimensions make people reflecting that who is watching me, so that it becomes, I don't have to pretend I am someone. Personally, I hate to do that type of networking, but it's about helping you, I will do it. And then clearly he pay back. That's my experience. So help someone else help you. So I think the youngster or the less experienced tend to underestimate the importance of networking, not for the sake of it, but because it's bringing value, I would say.
Lucia, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What about you, Chris?
I'm good. I love that we both came very colourful today.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we choose the same palette. So
yeah. How are things? How's life?
Well, it's for us, it's the end of the fiscal year, so all good. But
that's why you're smiling.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to listen before you our investor call, which is a special event we do every 4 years. So it was very exciting about the future of the company. So definitely interesting and good time for the company.
But it all starts again next month.
Everything starts. I mean, people will say that more than anyone else because they are running like hell till 3rd of June to sign as much as possible. But then July 1st, back from the scratch, no?
Yeah.
They are again starting from zero. So
are you pretty good at like with holidays? Like, are you pretty good in August and like to take the time, or do you space out kind of time with the family and stuff?
The consequence of the fiscal year ending of the 3rd of June is that bonus in the US is paid on August 1st or at the end of the month. So that is the moment we can take a bit of...
Perfect time.
Exactly. But if you are Italian, everybody goes on leave in August. So you are rather like to go a bit in a more quiet time of the year. But yes, I will take time off for sure.
Yeah, I went to Italy last I think it was last year, and it was like 38 degrees. And I was struggling. I thought I'll be fine, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, this is pretty intense. But you must be used to it by now.
Well, yeah, but yesterday they were announcing that this was the hottest May we had in the past, I think 80 years. So it reached already 27 degrees. You are on Celsius, right?
Yes.
So it was too much for being May. So we don't know what is going to happen. We have a global health challenge to face, and Italy is going to become a desertic area if you look at the forecast.
Really? I did not know about that.
Yeah, you are going to get the Italian weather of the good times in the UK.
Yeah.
And we are going to be like Egypt or,
oh my God.
Dry place.
Well, let's enjoy it now.
I'm fresh in the office. I'm enjoying my aircon for sure.
Yeah. Before we jump in, tell everyone a little bit about your background, personally and your journey to where we are today.
Okay, well, I likely say that I am made in Italy. And I come from the south of Italy and moved to Milan, where I currently live, to study university. When I started, I wanted to be a broker, so I went into study business administration. Then throughout my journey, I lost the conviction that was really something I wanted to do. It was very quantitative. And I swapped during my study into business administration for organization. So I took my master in the study in HR. So I think I was lucky enough to know before entering the work market what I wanted to do, which was good. And then I've been growing within HR. So my colleague, former colleague, friends say, are you still convinced on that path? I mean, I hit the mark of 25 years. So I don't know, for my next 25 years, something could happen. I've been working always in multinational. So despite I'm Italian and I lived good portion of my life in Italy. I've been also living in the UK when I was working for Shell, in Switzerland when I was working for Tetra Pak, and then I moved back to Italy. I really feel a global citizen by the opportunity. The work I've been dealing with has been international in nature. I am a big traveler, so I like traveling the world. I am lucky to be in the country that everybody wants to visit. So I keep saying, yes, I'm visiting Italy, but then keep going abroad.
But you can leave, right? Let them come to Italy, then you can leave.
Exactly. Yeah. Over tourism is definitely a problem in Italy.
It's very busy. When I went there last August, I was like, you could barely move. Like to get into like some of these sightseeing, like some of the places, my wife and daughter and I were like waiting for hours to go into any of the tourist attractions. Anyway, so you love to travel. What's your favorite place you've been?
Iran. I went there before today in 2018. Has been a great place to be honest, a discovery, because it's one of those places that if you don't go there, you can only have prejudgments, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's very linked to the history of my country, because this is Persia, so it's linked to Greek. If you think on that way and not how it's portrayed today, plus it's a very young country, so the people are super nice, welcoming. So it was a great experience. Today probably wouldn't do the same. It has also built a big spot of my passport. I travel to the US frequently because ADP is an American company. So I cannot have an ESTA. So I always remember.
Oh, just because you went that one time.
You have to declare if in the past 5 years.
Of course.
There. So now I changed my passport, so I should be spot free, but it still remain one of my favorite trips. And then Andalusia. I've been in places where not many people have been, like Bhutan.
You're taking off some of the places, because I'm really fascinated by like ancient civilizations.
Yeah.
And I follow like both those places you just mentioned, and I've watched a number of documentaries where they're unveiling some like hidden civilizations that date back, 5,000 plus years that they didn't even know about.
It's amazing. I tell you. And by the way, last weekend I visited Nepal, my sister. I went to Paestum, which I think is one of the best, like Pompeii, one of the sites where everybody wants to go. And luckily it was so hot that it was few of us and we enjoy visiting the site. But it was really like, this make me think of Persepolis. So I was discussing with my sister. So cool. We have a lot of history in our country, but it's nice to see connection.
I love that. I need to do that more, and I want to take my daughter traveling with me as well. I want to get some time. So tell everyone about your current role, you're in now.
So I am the HR for the international business of ADP. For those who don't know ADP is a 75 years old business who became international 40 years ago. We are around 67,000 employees, and we are present in 140 countries, some with direct presence, and I am responsible for 37 of those countries. And the rest to also partner. The big part of our organization is in the US. I am not in the US, excluding very few, probably less than 1,000 of associates. So we are really global in the business, and our clients are global. So it's quite exciting. I am the HR of that function.
So, but you're the CHRO, right, of the business unit?
Yeah, we don't call it like that, but the CHRO of the ADP, who was doing my job before, tell me exactly, you are a mini CHRO. Yeah, I don't have the board.
Well, you've got a lot of countries and a lot of employees.
Exactly, I have a big spectrum. So, and I have a lot of fun, and I'm lucky because my CHRO is British, so I don't have to explain to him how it is being international. So that's also a big plus.
Amazing. Amazing.
And
I mean, to be honest, like I don't think there's anyone listening to the show that doesn't know ADP.
I think so, but because we are HR professionals, so I think we are well known. So it's quite nice. Nevertheless, when you go into the market and you want to attract,
of course,
it's a bit more of a different story. But I'm pleased to represent ADP in the show today.
How long you been now? How long?
Well, I'm getting older in ADP because I joined in September 2012. So actually, I'm beating in September 13 years, which is like I never forecasted that. So life is good when you do not realize, and suddenly it's like this. So
if you could think of like one thing, like the number one thing that kept you at ADP for so long, that attracted you to stay, what would that be? What's the number one reason?
The possibility to make an impact. So you are given the opportunity. So that's and since I am a status quo challenger as a mindset, I always got my chances. So yeah, definitely. And I would add another one. There is a value for us. Each individual count. You really feel it. So the two things working in HR, I think, is important that value is met. So,
yeah. What aspect of HR really sparks your curiosity and has retained your passion for so many years?
Knowing businesses, knowing different industry, it's something I'm always passionate. So to be honest, I would say, how do we make the money and how we support the business to make more money? So the curiosity to see how we could trigger more growth opportunity. And I've been lucky because almost all the company I've worked for have been on a growth trajectory, or in any case, opportunity to see the growth leveraged by people. We are strong in technology, but the real differentiator for ADP is service, for example.
Of course.
That dimension is keen. But yeah, I really like to listen to our investor call and the questions and have my team understanding that. I don't see the value of HR without a business that is doing something in the world.
Yeah.
And we pay millions of people, so it's actually a nice thing.
Yeah, people won't believe that, but before we hit record, I asked you, how's your day? And you said it was great because I listened to the investor call.
Yeah.
Which may sound strange, right? So, but you truly reflect what you just said. You were like, I was so excited to listen to the investor call and, you know, what we're achieving. And like that genuinely is something that I can see drives your passion and your purpose.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think it's where HR can make the difference.
Of course.
Because if we understand, we can, you can't be a business partner if you don't know what your business is doing. So I always inquire my team on, okay, what is the impact you are going to drive with the business, the leader you are supporting. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm very curious as a general trait of my personality.
Well, you kind of have to be, right? Like if you look at, I've been doing this since I was 17. So I've not been living in the seat like you, but I've been having conversations and producing content for 20 years in the HR space, right? And I fell into this by accident. If you don't have that curiosity mindset, you won't last long in HR. Because think about how much has changed from when I started, when it was very much the administrative function, to where we are now, where in December, I'm about to bring together 13,000 CHROs for our AI summit. Who would have thought that we would bring together 13,000 HR executives for AI and HR? Like, you know, you wouldn't even dream of where we are right today. How does it make you feel when you reflect on the journey for yourself, but also the profession, how far we've come?
Well, I think I have been in general quite lucky to be in industries that value HR because sometimes you are asked to do the dirty job, the admin work. I have been lucky in the sense that the leader I've been working, I've been appreciating the contribution of HR, because let's face it, that is what allows you to put a foot in the door and make the difference. But if I don't get to the very first thing I was doing, I was a data crunching and Excel master, and we were making joke when we were doing our annual merit review. When I was at Shell, I recall this is a Saturday checking letters, signing. So the admin work wasn't fun. Was I would say a team building opportunity more than content. And the other thing is you see how simpler things can become. So I always say that if a process you are driving in HR is not easy to understand, you are making distance between you and the associate, the employee experience in general. We call associate our employee. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's HR is more understood. I think also there is a different sensitivity about what we had as a value. I remember when I was young, my mother used to ask me, so what do you do? I hire people, I give them good salary, and I make sure they stay in the company. To be honest, the concept is still the same, but the way to make the people coming, stay, enjoying, it's how you engage with them. The other thing I've noticed is that organizations have changed. They are not anymore paternalistic somehow to tell you what to do, how to go about it, but they are trying to engage you at different level. So that it's not like I give you a job, but they give you an expertise, an opportunity, and experience. I think this also you will see with young generation really catch them. And the other big part is we start talking of things that we didn't in the past. How do you feel? Are you worried? Is there something I can do on a personal note? Again, I've been lucky maybe as an individual to have bosses in the past thinking about me, but when it's a company culture, and now it's a global expectation, so you can't talk with someone without saying we have an associate employee assistance program, we do wellness program. When I started, I was in a bank. I started at Citibank. I wouldn't say it was so fun. It was really, you sell, you go your target, and we give you a good bond.
That was my background. It was very much a high pressure sales environment.
Yes.
And today, so just before this show, I just finished an event. We did a webinar with just over 1,000 CHROs. And the whole hour, we had 6 CHROs presenting. And it was all around their recognition programs and the work they're doing with, to support their employees, but also upskill their managers to around the reward and recognitions and the software and technology. But that wasn't really a conversation that we had back then. Like, I wasn't sat down as part of my management development of how to recognize someone, like, and be specific about it, rather beyond the thank you, right? Actually say, what are you actually recognizing them for, right? Asking people, I never, back then was taught like to actually ask my employees, how would you like to be recognized?
Oh yeah,
like you just assume everyone wants the bonus or everyone wants the medal, right? Like so these are like leading with empathy, like you said. Like that wasn't something we had conversations around right back then. So it's and the way in which we work, which is the whole conversation, is fundamentally changed, right?
Absolutely. And I also think there is much more about the attitude before was leading because you are the best and the other will follow you. Now is servant leadership.
Yes.
I was following someone saying the cure. I don't know if it resonates well in English, but it's like how you can take care of people around you so that they follow you. But the followership is really based on how authentic you are, which is really, as a woman also, I've been a lot into environment where you had to be in a way and the model was one. I think now it's even the model you could apply as a leader. It's very open to different styles. So
it's flipped in so many ways, right? Like what was being seen to be a leader when I was growing up now, in terms of, for example, leading with being vulnerable, that was seen as a weakness. Now for me, I would say it's one of my biggest strengths, because it means I build more authentic conversations with my employees and my clients, and asking for help. And, I've had some challenges around anxiety and my well-being that I discuss and create that safe space. That wasn't something you would ever speak of in my generation, when I was young and I first became a manager. You would never say that.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I always appreciate is that now there is not one model that works. So it's not like you have one solution. And I always have people coming to me because now I joke, the elephant in the organization. I have history. Someone asked me, is there something I should not do at ADP? And I'm like, look, I think about it. I just think if you are gentle and kind and say what you think, you will always have a space. So, but in other organizations, someone would have told you, number of things in the past. And I don't think it's only ADP. There are many organizations that are more open. That's what I
agree. Within your own team, how do you encourage sort of personal awareness and self-motivation within the team?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I invite them to tell me, first of all, I am of the school of, I give you as much work as I can in terms of opportunity, exposure. And I always relate to them to say, raise your hand, no capacity for the time being, or let's find someone else who can work with me on these, because sometimes it's also, I don't know how to go about stuff. The other thing I try really to do for self-motivation is our offering, but I think in many other organization, the offering on what you could do, it's huge. So I say to someone, you want to learn something, ask me how you want to go about it if you need help, but you are free to make your own pattern. The ask I have is share with the team. Because there is some time, and I think it's maybe human nature. Not everybody is prompted to go back and say, I did this, good, bad, and I want to share my experience. So this is one thing. The other consideration I make is also, I was discussing with the leader the other day, your growth is your responsibility. I can give you the environment, the support, but if you don't want to grow,
I love that. Yeah,
I have an hard time. And I have a category of associate I call the captive. The door is open, but they feel forced to stay inside. And I make a joke saying, guys, and sometimes this mindset kill you because you feel you can't do stuff. So sometimes it's about changing job, raising a concern, talking openly. My strength is I am a connector. So if you come to me, most likely I would say, who can help us on this? And so I leverage that plus my tenure in the company as a way to solve 95% of the problem. If I don't know who to go to, it's one of the questions I would spend my time to think about the solution. Yeah. So I trigger that type of mindset because in our organization matter also to be successful through others. So you push that type of dynamic as well.
Do you think that's underestimated in terms of the power of like the network that you've built and the relationship, so that together we just,
the more you grow, the more you understand it. But when you are more junior, actually you really think, and this is gender free, you think I'm doing a good job, someone will notice. And then you start seeing the people who level up. So one thing we did, and it's part also of how we coach and mentor our younger, or let's say people who wants to go to the next level, is to build them a sponsor. So someone they work with, a senior. Then I always ask, what's your brand and what people say when you are not in the room? Those two dimensions make people reflecting that who is watching me in a good meaning and who I could work so that it becomes, I don't have to pretend I am someone. Personally, I hate to do that type of networking, but it's about helping you, I will do it. And then clearly he pay back. That's my experience. So help someone else help you. So I think the youngster or the less experienced tend to underestimate the importance of networking, not for the sake of it, but because it's bringing value, I would say.
I agree. What's top of mind for you right now? There's so much going on. There's so many in external factors, and whether it's AI, whether it's politics, whether it's pandemics. It's a lot. So I just want to know what's really top of mind for you right now.
For me and for the business is, of course, the external outlook, because impacts the opportunity for us to grow. And, we are very ambitious. We like to grow. The international business is becoming more important to deliver on the overall company strategy. So for us, being able to grow in markets that are, let's say, a bit more unusual or who expose us to a potential risk are to be considered. We made an acquisition a few months back in Mexico. So thinking of how the integration of those acquisition works, it's important because it's like when you do a bad recruitment, it doesn't matter that the person is not selected, but how their experience is and how they are going to talk about the person they've met makes the difference. So for me, good integration, and it's not only Mexico, it's important. We have many opportunity to grow in this way. Then there is the topic of the be futuristic, which is European directive about pay transparency.
Yes.
It's not concern, but it's something we are questioning ourselves. if we are ready, but more our clients. We do a lot about data. I mean, we own millions of data, so we are lucky on that, and we treat them very carefully. The point is how we are going to use all those information to be ready. And it's also checking with peer in the industry or in the market. It's actually fascinating. And that's an area of curiosity because, we keep checking the map. The other day, Lithuania made a law. So it's a topic, and it's also a question of the readiness of our associate to ask the right question at the time. Yeah. So it's really a topic, and we are looking from a business perspective how we can take advantage of this opportunity. So that's something, because it's nice. Sometimes I work in HR for a company that sell HR. So actually, we chat a lot with the business leader. They ask me, what do you think about this solution or things like that. So it's actually fun because I have an opinion that could be considered relevant.
Yeah. Can you share more on the pay equity piece for everyone?
Yeah, I think the topic is about, do you have the infrastructure in place for making analysis? We have been working on this in respective of a law, but we just as a practice to know that we are treating our associate fairly. The other thing is that there is a perception there is inequity to a certain extent because it's usually the statistic of the average of the average of the average that make comparison not relevant. So, I mean, I know we speak about women underpaid. I mean, I'm in Italy, so I wouldn't say it's a best practice to share. Nevertheless, if you start looking at position, role, and specificity, then you end up in a different perspective. The other thing is that we educate also, I do it with friends, with associates. There is the perception that clearly you live in the UK, I live in Italy, someone live in the US. There is a lot of other elements to consider. To me, it's really fairness on how we make associate growing, including the financial dimension. The other important things is also through selection process, and this should be bias free because sometimes there are assumptions about the age, the experience. For example, we introduce hiring history ban. So we don't ask you when we hire you how much you make. We really go for the position and the compensation. Changing the mindset is not instant because it's like a practice.
Yeah, people have been doing it for so long, right? Yeah,
exactly. So, and for me, it's not really HR. I think we are in I mean, my space, 100 plus the function, probably 200 people. I think we are quite good. The point is changing the mindset of the leader.
It's a culture change as well.
In an interview saying, are you going to ask that? You say, no, you should not. That type of dynamic, which is, I mean, by now it was January 24. I think building the habits that avoid, even if, we will know what the law says, but we are doing the practice that make people correctly treated. So there is a lot we do about, it's a training we launched, it's called Be Clear. Be clear about the bias you have and manage those. So explicitly say about, sometimes we are like, I am in a beauty bias. I think I'm not properly dressed up or, I don't look nice. And therefore, I don't feel I can compete. We make joke, but it's becoming a bit of a dynamic.
It makes sense.
But sometimes you provoke a conversation with other people who, in the back of their hand, by the way, everybody has bias, just doesn't keep them out. But yeah, pay transparency is a topic, and I think we just need to keep learning and educating what's the right attitude towards this, because we will know what we will know. So it's very unknown itself as a process.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's an important topic, and what would you say is like the biggest challenge? Because there's many companies I've seen that are on this journey right now. Yeah. Where do you see the biggest challenge for companies?
Well, to me, first of all, if you have data in-house. Second, if you are able to have a system that to make jobs comparable. And 3, if you have a methodology. This is something you can control, because I think everybody would ask you, what's your plan? I'm building the infrastructure. Actually, we have it ready since 5 years, so we are good. The point is, what are the rules we are going to implement? So, and these rules are out of control. We have to be ready for reporting, I think, July 27. We have to get inputs by the end of July 26. So if there is a gap in any country for whatever reason, you might have a bit of a fast adjustment track. But for us, is that's why I talk about futurism, because we have scenarios. So I would say if you have scenarios and plan and you are discussing the topic, you start being in a good place. If you hide yourself and you don't talk about the topic, maybe you are more worried. But honestly, I think all my peers, including myself, I stay quite quiet on the topic because there is uncertainty around it.
Yeah, no, I understand. In terms of the technology space, I'd be interested to understand, like, what are some of the workforce technology trends? Obviously the Gen AI is, you can't have a conversation without it coming up.
Of course.
What are the areas for the HR function that you think do we have the most opportunity to leverage this technology?
Well, the obvious one are the repetitive work, or the work where, you need to, like typing this conversation, and thinking about what are the highlights I want to share. So by now it's common practice. There is a lot working in, regulated countries where you have to be mindful about privacy. I really think even having performance conversation, you might want, now it's very easy to make your report, but the reality is, one thing so I would say admin work for sure, work where you are at risk of making mistake and like a lot of Excel file data combination, yes. And I think on this one we are already on a good track internally. The area where it's more interesting, it's giving the opportunity to train yourself on difficult conversation, or having a virtual coach. We have started using that technology for manager and for training, because you can't offer a simulation to everybody on every situation.
Can I ask who you use? Because there's so many platforms out there. Can you share that?
I know the name is Nadia, but I don't know
what Valence.
Yeah, sorry. That's it.
I know all of them, but okay. No, but of course everyone knows it internally as Nadia. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so that is the way it gives you support. I think people leader experiencing that, because not everybody is so advanced or is I can say open to new technology. But when you use it I have to talk with Chris and I want to prepare a speech with him, and what are the difficult conversations, I could go into that type of discussion with someone who also, if you are afraid to talk with someone. In the past, when I was a younger HR, I was sitting with my leader and say, okay, do it with me, speak with me, tell me what you want to do. So if you think of the benefit of also not feeling judged by someone else, having that interaction, because you can always have a session with someone who tells you more. But I don't think everybody is open enough to feedback and they prepare themselves. So that is another great use. I don't think it's going to remove HR, but it's going to have a higher level of interaction about, okay, what was the outcome of that conversation? What are your challenges? What you still don't know how to go about it, because maybe there is something specific to ADP or to individual, or again, work council things that could come out that I'm not sure Nadia can forecast yet. So I think we could accompany the technology with the human-enabled relationship.
What's been the feedback from managers? Just out of curiosity, because there's some uncertainty, there's a little bit of fear in some places. What's been the feedback for Nadia from the leaders?
We are testing it with the HR team now, and we are going live July 1st. So we are in the stage. So even making sure that our HR leader know what it is and try. Even the example of the bias training, we had to do it first as HR. One, because I think I'm selling you a product, I'm not using it. I have a bit of an hard time. So far, I only heard the positive things, but I think probably we are the enthusiasts. But I will tell you next time, or I will send you.
Part 2. Yeah, no worries. I love. But I agree with you. It's such a great application of AI. You reminded me when you said about the role play. Like, I used to have to practice my sales pitch to my manager, and that was quite intimidating, right? to do that. But if I had an AI agent that I could practice, that could give me feedback and in a safe space, that understood me, because obviously you can learn more about you as you use it, and any language, right? The accessibility piece is something that we take for granted now, because it's so good in the platform that you just couldn't do.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, again, languages. I mean, we have 39 languages, no, even more sometimes. So when we are about, if I could imagine a town hall where everybody can speak and it's understood in the language of the receiving person. Today we use caption, which is already a good advancement, but I don't think it will take us more than, I don't know, 1 year, just because each company is now creating their instances for safety, because clearly we have trademark products and we want to stay on the safe side. So I would say at the beginning, we spoke a lot about AI, but then it wasn't embedded into our solution. Shortly, we are going to offer it to all the associates in the international space. We have our instance and we are asking people, hey, can you keep using it? Because we need that interaction. So we have been in a moment where we said, can you please make 5 interactions a day? So it means that you 5 days a day, 5 times a day, you have to use it. I think it's, again, prompting the development of the individual, and maybe they tend to under-evaluate. So yeah, and the other thing we use it's in call recording.
Yeah,
it's a basic, but so much time saving.
Just like your ability to the AI to summarize your call and give you feedback and understand the customer challenges. You know, because it's capturing that from thousands of different people and all of it. How incredible is that we can capture all of that information into one knowledge, one agent.
By the way, it's also summarized, because the call summarization is the beauty. And I was talking with, we did a test also for the business in the Netherlands, and they said, we are not yet happy about it. We said, what is not working? And they said, okay, one was the language, but then they tune it. And the other one was, it takes more than 30 seconds to get a full summary. And we were like, okay, I mean, it takes me a day.
We're now we're very entitled now.
Exactly. So, and it takes like 3 months and you get it. So, I think it's definitely, and I'm sure there will be much more going on. But I really think HR will be affected. So the only difference we could make is on the interpretation, the awareness on our environment that make the HR function more valuable.
Yeah. Have you focused on the upskilling and reskilling of your own HR team's AI literacy, and if so, how? Because that's obviously such an important as we shift to ensure that your team are prepared.
Well, that's why we said at the moment, I think it's like 1,000 people out of 15,000 who have access. And some of them are HR. So the next step is that everybody get the access, because, before I was working at home on my laptop and then thinking about stuff because I couldn't use it at work. So now we are inviting them to some of the seminar we also offer to our associate about the technology enablement they have, like in the platform we use. We have a part of the HR strategic pillar is really about first class leader in HR. Yeah. And so we offer them a number of programs. So there are masterclass we offer on how to go about it. And we are looking also into external events where they could learn more. I would say more to come, just because there has been
There's a lot going on.
But on top of that, I think we have been a bit conservative by the nature of the data we treat. So now we are opening up. So
and that makes sense.
Moving.
Yeah, and it must be really interesting because you're obviously you must be learning a lot from your customers as well, right?
Yeah, no. The data is extremely interesting in that perspective. So actually, you could say it's not HR, but it's more HR for the client. So the human capital management. We see a lot about the reporting work that they ask us, and there are already solutions embedded with that technology. So because it's been there for a long time, but we have a lot of labs where there is development going on. So, but it's more external than internal, which is fair, which is where the business has to grow first.
Yeah. When we talk about your team, what would you say is your leadership philosophy?
Well, we have what we call a value-driven leadership framework. So it's really embedded in, 75 years, value are very clear. To me, the things that matter the most are how you build trust, in the team. And that's something that I keep saying, it's recurring, because it's like planting a seeds, but then if you don't put the water and you don't continue growing, doesn't work. In our value, there is a lot about also the integrity. And again, it's linked to our business. Integrity is really everything. And I could say that also, when we look into our internal survey, comes across as one of the highest score. The other one where I think as an organization we're pretty strong is result driven. So it's a good balance of integrity, result, and the result is really about how people deliver, not only for the output, but also for how the people get engaged into reaching the results. And the other element that is growing, and we mentioned earlier, is about the social responsibility we play in the community. I always say we are very important 1 day per month for our clients. I mean, we make people happy, but also making our associate feeling the value they build. So we are very strong on business results group driving. We have, I think, 17 business results group. So it's really a strong environment for that. And the other big element in the leadership model is the change management. So how you cope with the constant change. The dimension we goes with it is without leaving people behind.
I love that. I love the addition. Yeah.
One of the things we were discussing is how do you state what is the right behavior from a leadership point of view. And we said there are things that you should not do, otherwise you get lost. So coming like the first in the room and never considering the other, or the attention for the population, the colleague around you, it's very important. So it's a balance act between leadership and trust, building trust, change management, integration, the results with the people, and a lot about innovation, that which we already touched upon. So these are really the building blocks of our leadership model. I think change management remain the imperative, whatever leadership model you have in place. Because keeps you up to date and allow you also to think that you are never done.
And it's never ending, right? Like change we're all like change management is continuous, right? And there's always new, I feel like it's just never ending, one thing after another. The pace of change seems to be getting exponentially faster. And the again, another thing you talk about management leadership, like we talk a lot about resilience. Mm-hmm. Right, that now is very popular and something that we talk about quite a lot, right? As in, like, how do we prepare our leaders and managers and ensure they have the resilience to see this through, because it is constantly changing.
It is, but it's also about accepting that there are difficult situations. We see, I mean, one of our other value is insightful expertise. So how you give the client the value. Sometimes clients are not always easy to deal with. So I see a lot of ability to help our client, even with maybe they are not necessarily always super nice with our associate, or they're challenging, but I understand what they are dealing with is complex.
Yeah.
So one thing I notice is that sometimes the resilience is more with helping the client to fix their problem, a bit less with the people internal. So we have to balance that effort. But our associates are really, I think they could accept you, which is not our philosophy. They are not treated well inside, but they want always to shine with the client. And that's really a trait of our organization, which I like because make you thinking, okay, I feel my job as a value. And I have a mission. So, many people talk about what's your mission. We pay millions of people, 1 American in 6. It's something, and you feel like you are doing something important for them. So
yeah, that's incredible.
In difficult time like this, it's you feel you do something. It's a positive business to be in.
It's important, right? Because despite everything going on around, it's always important to look back at that foundation of your why, your purpose, and your mission. Correct. Because despite everything else, you can always look back and say, this is the why, right? Of why we do what we do, and that kind of look at it through that lens and let that be your foundation always. Is there anything we haven't discussed that we should have, that we missed?
Well, I always say that yes, we are at work. We have to be serious. We have to perform, properly. But we have to be having a bit of fun, of enjoyment. And I see that when we run quarterly engagement pulses, and among the answer, there is something really about I see, I give contribution, I am recognized, all the things we touch. Implicitly, I think the people are highly engaged because they feel there is something keeping them together. And at least for my team, I really try to leverage the fact that we know each other at another level that is not only professional.
Yeah.
So that dimension to me matter a lot. And as you ask me why you stay, probably is the opportunity to be truly myself at work without being different than I am when I am with my friend or with my family. I think that's it's important, and go back to authenticity. So
I love the way you end. I love the fact that you ended there, because for me that's the same thing. I always used to get asked by friends like, why did you stay at the last company for 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
And it was because I enjoyed the relationships I had with my team. Like, we win together, we play together, we laugh together, we eat together. We used to have like monthly lunch where everyone would bring in food from their heritage and their background, and we'd have a feast. Like, and that for me retained me more than the business, more than the work. It was the team. So when I was like thinking about leaving and starting this business, that was the hardest decision. And it wasn't about me, it was about leaving them.
Correct.
So that was, and anytime I had a recruiter call me, or a headhunter trying to pitch me a new job somewhere else, I was like, no, I don't want to. This means more to me to do that. Before I let you go, what advice would you give to the HR leaders of tomorrow that are going to be sitting in your seat one day?
To listen more than talking. Sometimes we think we have the response. I think I have the solution. 95% of the time when I just bite my tongue, I got the person finding their own solution, find their way. And I always say 95% of the time, they also do things better than I would do. So the trust and the listening are important.
Yeah.
At the same time, build your expertise, invest in learning, being, knowledgeable about your stuff. But that is in parallel with the other, because even listening, you learn. So
yeah.
So yeah.
Lucia, well, listen, I appreciate you coming on the show, and we're definitely going to come say hi soon as well. I'm going to drop you an email. I want to know some of the locations I should be visiting, because it sounds like you're going to give me some good advice.
Well, I'm famous for travels and also movies. So
okay. So I've got movie recommendations and
exactly.
All right, I got it. Listen, I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris.